We are recording. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. I am Jennifer Rose, and this is Mary Barbara. Hi, Mary Barbara. Mary Barbara and I have known each other for, oh, wow, several decades. Mary Barbara, you've been practicing and leading Course in Miracle groups since 1982. She also has a book companion to the Lessons of A Course in Miracles, which is available on Amazon, A Path to Peace. And we are here together having a conversation about A Course in Miracles. We are really going through some of the pillars of A Course in Miracles and teasing out the important definitions of A Course in Miracles so that as you work with A Course in Miracles, your practicing is simplified and more understandable, because the book is kind of big and it can be kind of dense. And I think these really kind of like teasing out the definitions is very helpful. So last time we talked about the ego, which is a thought system, and you can check out that video on YouTube. And now we are going to talk about the Holy Spirit. So Mary Barbara, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. And the first question is like, what's the Holy Spirit? What is the Holy Spirit?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
This is a happy one to talk about.
Yeah.
So, as we said last time, in the illusion, in this time and space, where we believe in time and space, there are two voices leading us, two voices guiding us. Something happens in our life and we say, what does this mean? And we're really saying, what does this mean to me? And the ego is giving us all fearful, negative, blaming ideas on what it means, and they're all lies. But if we're not listening to them, they have no power over us. But there's another voice, and it's a gentle voice, and it's a quiet voice, and it can be drowned out by the ego, and that we call the Holy Spirit. Okay, there's a term in the Course that calls the Holy Spirit, is the spirit of joy. Okay, so if you want to feel happy and peaceful and loving, you'll choose to listen to the Holy Spirit and hear what that voice is telling you. But the Holy Spirit has to be consciously chosen. It has to have your willingness to hear it, because it says it speaks very gently and very quietly, because it's the voice for peace. It doesn't battle the ego's way of thinking. If the ego is telling you one thing, the Holy Spirit's not going to come up and give you this other side of that situation. It will just tell you the truth. And the way I like to look at it is the ego voice is like music, real loud music on the planet. And the Holy Spirit is like a soft, gentle lullaby song that has to be consciously listened to. Like you hear all that music and you say, oh, wait, what do I hear something else. I hear another voice. As the song, it gets much more easy. But in the beginning, it takes great practice to listen to the Holy Spirit, because the whole world supports the ego voice, as we said last week. So that voice is always telling us you're not enough, and what we said last week. But the Holy Spirit voice is the voice for God. And we like to know, and it says in the Course, that the Holy Spirit's voice is the voice for our real self. That's our higher self, our real self. It's the voice for that part that remembers what it was like to be one with God. So a lot of people have a problem thinking of listening to guidance from the Holy Spirit, because they're very autonomous. They want to decide what they're going to think, and I know what I'm doing, and I don't want to listen to somebody else. Well, the Holy Spirit is your voice. It's that voice that remembers that God loves you and you love everyone. So we're not really like going against our own beliefs or our own thought systems. We're just going above them and saying that other part is just insanity. I want the peace of God, and to have the peace of God, I want to hear what the Holy Spirit has to say. There's a prayer in the Course that I love, and it says, this holy instant would I give to you. That's giving it to the Holy Spirit. Be you in charge. for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word, you will give it to me. And if I need a thought, that's what you'll give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil, open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of you. You are in charge by my request, and I will hear and you will hear and answer me for God our Father and his Holy Son. So that's really what the Holy Spirit is. The voice for that,
It's
the
like
voice.
when you repeat that prayer, it's like medicine to my soul.
Isn't it?
It like soothes everything down. But you said something really interesting, like the ego's going to talk really loud, really fast, really strong. It's going to be like blaring in your ear. But the Holy Spirit will not match that energy. The Holy
Right.
Spirit's not going to come in. The ego's wrong. You have to listen to me. Are you stupid? Are you crazy? No, don't go there. The ego's going to, the Holy Spirit's going to have a very
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
energy.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be the energy of that prayer, the energy of like, follow me. I know the way. I'm you. You're me. I'm not going to lead you into a place that's going to be hurtful or harmful or lacking. I'm going to lead you towards love.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It says, it's like you said, it doesn't fight the ego. That's the way it's done in the world, like my opinion, your opinion, my opinion. It says it doesn't fight anything. It just silently tells the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It says, in a way, it might not say these words, but it says in a way, look at it this way. Just look at it this way. And for me, the Holy Spirit, that prayer that I recited, that to me is like the guarantee from A Course in Miracles,
Mm-hmm.
that the Holy Spirit will always be there for me and for all of us. So that's a prayer that you might, I think it's, is that page lesson 231 or something like that? If you want, I'll kind of look that up. But learn that prayer. And then when you're going through something that's frightening, something that is disturbing your peace, that prayer and say, Spirit, you said if I need a word, you'll give it to me. If I need a thought, you'll give it. If I
Mm-hmm.
need but stillness, you'll give me that. And in the beginning, when I started practicing with that prayer, I kind of had like I'm going boldly to this. I like the course. I have the position that the Course in Miracles is absolute truth in my life. So whatever it says, I say that is the truth in my life. So in the beginning, I used to say, Holy Spirit, you said that you would have a word for me, a thought, whatever. I used to have that attitude, but I had to do that to overcome all the other chatter that was happening in my life, because the Holy Spirit's voice gets louder. It says it's as loud as your willingness to listen.
Mm-hmm.
In the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, we're more willing to listen to the world's voice because we survived till now listening to the ego.
Mm-hmm.
And then to go with the Holy Spirit and do something totally, the ego says you're not going to live. You're going to be a doormat. Things are going to be taken away from you. It pushes that sense of loss button. And the truth is exactly the opposite, because everything of the world is changeable and it's temporary, and the joy can be robbed, the ego can rob it, and everything of the Holy Spirit is permanent. Eternal means permanent. Eternal means
Mm-hmm.
never changing. And the Holy Spirit's voice for God is that. And the life becomes gentle and good when you're listening to the Holy Spirit. But it does take practice. I just want to warn you that it takes practice when you're
Okay.
in your stuff,
So the Holy Spirit has answers that I could never think of with just my thinking mind.
Exactly.
And those answers would lead me to a life that is peaceful and full of ease and contentment.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I'm just like kind of like repeating a little bit of what you said, but and I want to ask you a little bit about what it means to hear, like what that experience is. But you're saying to develop this communication, like to turn away from listening to this speaker, to move my attention to listen to this speaker, to move from listening to the ego to move to listening to the Holy Spirit, it takes practice. Like I'm learning a new language, like I have to have a new habit. I have to, and when you're creating a new habit, it takes more effort at the beginning.
It does. It really does. I compared it years ago when I first started doing it. I compared it to like if you're used to having a part in your hair on your left,
Mm-hmm.
and then you decide you want it on the right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really work on that hair to go in the opposite direction. And that's how it is with our mind. We're used to going along a certain path. We're used to hearing the ego. And the Holy Spirit will never fight it. We have to willingly say, guide me, Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Guide me.
Mm-hmm.
What is the truth here?
Yeah.
What I like to do is say, Spirit, take over. Holy Spirit, take over. Because I know that I don't know. I know that everything I'm thinking is just complicating it. The ego guidance is so simple. And often it is the same thing. Like for me, the word is trust. No matter what, like things I'm working on now, I say, if I need a word, you'll give it. And he'll say, trust. And I know that that's my word. I know that that has my power. That's where my power is. Because you have control. Those are the two parts. And we know that we don't have control over this illusion, right?
So,
It's you never know. You might get this, you might get that, you might lose this, you might. So we have no control. So the only thing to do is trust that all things work together for good. That's
so just to kind of do like a little summary. So the ego, because I think we got the words mixed up for a minute. The ego guidance, which is a thought system, which is a voice, the words are complicated. It's confusing. There's conflict. It feels unpeaceful. It feels like you said the world is insane. It's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's no way out of the insanity. But the voice for the Holy Spirit or the voice for God, the words are very simple. They're very quiet, like you said, and you hear a lot of the time just trust. Just one word, trust.
mm-hmm.
Okay. And can we talk a little bit about um, hearing hearing the guidance of the Holy Spirit? So we're using this word hearing, but I think a lot of people, they're kind of like, I don't hear anything. I'm not hearing Holy Spirit. Are there other ways that we can get guidance from the Holy Spirit? Like I want to know all the ways that we can receive guidance from the Holy Spirit so that people can feel confident that the Holy Spirit wants to communicate with them when they're ready when they're ready to start having this conversation with the Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Well, people have heard the Holy Spirit more than they think.
Okay.
They have heard the Holy Spirit. Like, you know how you'd say at a certain point, oh God, I wish I had listened to myself about this.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this wasn't going to work out. I should have listened to myself. And to me, that when saying listen to myself is listening to that little voice that was saying, Mary, you know how this is going to turn out, or Mary, let's go another way, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about. So we all have that like you could call it intuition, but that's one way. That's the simplest way, and everybody has had that experience. I assume everybody. I don't know anybody that hasn't. That way, you just know that it's right or wrong, and maybe mostly what we do before we realize it's the voice for our own good is we just go do it anyway, and then later we think, why didn't I listen to myself? You know, I knew this was going to happen.
Yes.
So that's like you might not hear the voice, but you have that gut feeling.
Yeah.
I would trust that in the beginning, trust your gut feeling.
Okay.
Your gut doesn't lie. That gut that I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And so when you think, oh, that's guidance. I've been guided. That's guidance. That's guidance. That's guidance. Start using the word guidance and start acknowledging that the Holy Spirit is doing something there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then after a while, I have talked to people about this because it worked for me. I started thinking, Holy Spirit, are you there? Are you there, Holy Spirit? And I would get a sense of yes, or I would hear yes. I actually hear words. Most people don't hear words, but you get that sense, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. So that is like the beginning, just establishing that the Holy Spirit is in your mind and you can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Then after a while, you'll say, I'm going to turn this over to the Holy Spirit. You have something going on and you can't decide what to do and what not to do. So you start to say, I'm turning this over to the Holy Spirit. Reveal it to me, Holy Spirit. And what I did at a certain point, and it has helped, I said, Holy Spirit, I give you to speak loudly to me and in a way that I will understand. Because you don't need to keep whispering. I give you permission to say it clearly and as loud, because it says it's loud as your willingness to listen. So I want it to be clear that I'm willing to listen, and I am willing to hear you say it loudly. So that's how I started with the hearing the Holy Spirit.
Can you repeat that again? You just say to the Holy Spirit, which is the wholeness of your being, which is you. You
To the part
say,
of me, are you there?
okay.
Are you there, Holy Spirit? Are
And
you
what
there?
else?
And you get a sense of it. You get
Mm-hmm.
like a sense of it. I've used this with my little grandkids. Like I call it an angel because they didn't get the Holy Spirit thing. But I would always take them to Kmart and buy them toys, when they came to visit. So they couldn't decide between this and that and this and that. And I'd say, ask your angel. And they close their eyes, so cute, like squeeze them and okay, this one. So, I mean, even as a child, there's guidance there. There's good
Yeah.
guidance from the Holy Spirit. And in a fact that I want to mention, and I do mention this a lot at the meetings, you don't have to follow the guidance. Okay? Honestly,
Mm.
you can hear the Holy Spirit say, go to the left, just saying that. And you could say, nope, I'm not willing to go to the left. I'm going to the right for a while. There's a lot you can gain by not listening to guidance. It gets bumpy, it doesn't work out, everything is complicated, and you say, yeah, I could have listened to guidance. So don't feel bad if you don't listen to guidance because it's fine. And if you listen to something and you're not sure it's guidance, okay, you think it's saying something,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and do what you feel like you were guided to do. Just move forward, even though you're a little, not sure. You're just not sure. So go ahead, what you're guided to do, because the Course in Miracles says if you ask for guidance and it is guidance, it will be upheld. If you ask for guidance and it wasn't guidance and you moved ahead with it, it will be corrected. The point is your intent to hear guidance. And there are times we're afraid to hear it. As I said, we think we'll have to do it. You do not have to follow your guidance until you're ready. Guidance gives you the clarity to make a good decision.
And that's our free will, right? Like
Yeah, that's the
it's
free
our
will
free
and the
will.
time.
We're asked, so we have to actually exercise our free will to
Yeah,
ask for guidance and to be willing to hear
right.
guidance. And then we still continue to get to exercise our free will, whether we want to follow guidance or not.
Yeah,
But we're keeping our eyes open. Like, what are the effects of my decision?
yeah.
And how
It's
do I want to choose next time?
right. Like it says, only the time you take it is voluntary. We're all
Yeah.
going to get it. We're all going to go back to hearing one voice. We're going to do it. That's what the Course says. But only the time you take it is voluntary. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, being conscious, as you said, of the effects of your choices is the most powerful way to get you to listen to Holy Spirit, because you listen to the other voice and you get angry with somebody or you do something, and then, as I say, you have to clean it up. You just have to clean
Yeah.
up that mess.
Yeah.
Well, with the Holy Spirit, it's like simple and smooth, and but as I said, in the beginning, it takes a while. It just takes a while for us to like trust it. So we have to consciously listen. We have to consciously look at the effects. That's the word, consciously.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
Mm-hmm.
we talked about one time, Jen, that like when that breathing, that conscious breathing, we're in the now moment. When you're conscious, when you're not consciously breathing, like right now, I mean, you could be in the past, the future, you could be anywhere. But when you stop and you consciously breathe, you're in the now moment. There's nowhere else. So when we get conscious of the Holy Spirit, that's when we'll have the power to hear. And conscious of the effects of not following the Holy Spirit is the teacher. Either way, we can't go wrong. That's what's so great.
It's really like when you make the declaration that you want to follow guidance, that you're really done with the insanity of listening to the ego. When you make that statement, I forgot what I was going to say, but anyways, you really have to be willing to, what do I want to say? You have to be willing to really start paying attention to your life.
Yes.
And that's how you learn what the effects are of your choices. Like
Yes.
you have to start, it asks you, when you decide that you're not going to live in an insane world, you have to start paying attention to how you're making your decisions and how you're making your choices, and you're being awakened. Like there's this whole pop culture word of awakening, but really you're awakening to your life. You can't be unconscious anymore.
Right. You're awakening from that dream.
Yes.
Like you were sleeping tightly and you had nightmares or you had fairly decent dreams and all that, but you're starting to wake up. And
Yes.
the first thing you wake up is, my thoughts alone can cause me pain. My thoughts alone can cause me joy. So if it's your thoughts, it's not God, it's nobody, it's you, it's your willingness. And I want to say that you don't have any practice with Holy Spirit and all that, you can just say, I'm a little willing to hear Holy Spirit. I used to say, I'm a little willing to be willing to hear Holy Spirit in this. Because I was sure Holy Spirit was going to like make me do something I didn't want to do. So I was just like a little tiny bit willing, but it was enough. Holy Spirit rushes in. You just open the door a little crack, and Holy Spirit, you know how light will come in dark room if you just open the door a little crack. So I felt like I was opening the door a little crack, and Holy Spirit would shine in, show me some stuff, and then it would be like, oh yeah, that makes
willing to be willing to hear the Holy Spirit. And if I just had to like couple words about, like if I was just going to sum up the Holy Spirit in a couple words, I would say Holy Spirit is guidance for your good.
Exactly.
Holy Spirit is guidance for my good. It's guidance for your good. It's guidance for everybody's good. Yeah.
There's a saying that goes right with that. It says, when Holy Spirit works it out, everyone gains and no one loses.
Yes. Everyone gains, no one loses. Yes.
And
yes.
the Holy Spirit works it out. It's so many comforting thoughts in the Course in Miracles. It tells you what to do. As I always say, it's a thin path. You know what I mean? It's a very strict path. It's either love or fear. It's either ego or Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? It's not like, yes, but in this case, it's different. No, it's always the same. It's a thin path, but it's the most gentle path. It's so gentle. It says, let me do it for you. If you wander off, I'll call you back. Don't worry. It's nothing to worry about. Everybody wins, including you. I used to have to say that. I don't know why. I used to, I guess in my life, I thought, oh, I don't care. Let them have it. Let my mother be happy. Well, who cares? That's fine. And give up something I want. So to say, when Holy Spirit guides me, everybody wins and no one loses, including me. I had to say that. I don't have to say that anymore. But I had to literally say that because I thought it was much more spiritual to let everybody else win because I'm strong. I could take it.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to wrap up our little conversation here. I'm just trying to keep it around 20 minutes because I feel like everybody has 20 minutes.
I love the 20 minutes.
To learn a little bit of something, and then we'll decide what we're going to talk about next time.
Okay.
I have some ideas, so we can talk on the phone to see what we're going to do next time. This was really great. Any last words about the Holy Spirit?
Well, I was thinking of if we wanted to ask people if they had questions, We could have one section where people sent in questions,
Oh, yeah.
and I could answer, you know, some questions or comments or suggestions.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm making a few notes right here,
Okay.
questions and suggestions, and I'm going to include so in the YouTube video, there's that section where you can put like a description, and
Yeah.
I'll put that prayer that you were quoting before because I made a note about that.
I
And
love
then I'll
that.
also put about suggestions, and then they can post comments
Yeah.
or they could email.
And
I have my,
questions. Like
yeah.
we could have one session for 20 minutes if we have enough questions that we could answer questions.
Okay.
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 That would be
All right,
fun.
my friends. So, Mary Barbara, let's do our little closing. So we're just gonna do our little fingers and kiss
Love
everyone.
and peace.
Peace,
Love
love,
and
and
peace.
peace.
I
See you
love you.
guys. Love
Love
you,
you,
Mary
Jennifer Rose.
Barbara. Thank you.
Love
See
you.
you.
Bye, honey.
Bye. See you guys next time.
Mhm.
All right.